What's good? Welcome back. The search means everything. I think sometimes we can get lost in the rigmarole, lost in the rules and the rituals and the religion of it all. And we miss out on the journey. We miss out on what's really being taught to us, or really being shown to us in the process of the seeking. And so the search is so important. And what you're searching for sometimes is what's actually what comes to you, what you magnetize, what you draw to yourself, or I can say it like this, what you actually find. Listen, we're going to talk about that today. This is Donovan Montreal. Yo, what's good? Welcome back to the Donovan Montreal pod, Donovan Montreal show. Like I said, whatever you want to call this is the home of Red and 30, where we make you Red and 30. All we talking about is Jesus, truth, and you, all using the red word. Shout out to the new Red 30 hood if you want to get one. I might let y'all get one day. We'll see how it is. It's exclusive. But it's the home of Red and 30. And we're just having the conversation that we need to have. We believe in the entire Bible. The Bible is a story about you and I, but the red words tell us who we are in the story. The three things I like to say, and I always like to set us up, and you're going to hear this over and over again. One, Jesus is the epitome of God's mind in mankind, in flesh, what God looks like thinking through us, right? Number two, the Bible tells us where we stand in proximity to that mindset. Sometimes we off, sometimes we close. We got to find ourselves and get aligned. Remember that word align, because we're going to talk about that a lot tonight. And the third thing is anything and everything outside of that is sin. I got the homie with me, Rico. You good?
What's good?
So we in the building, we just having the conversation. Listen, that word align, even the concept, I like that third one, that everything outside of that is sin. So that's a big deal to say that everything outside of the mind of Christ is sin. Now, we like to talk, the grace and mercy of God, and that the grace, the space of grace and everything. But truth of the matter is, if we really get to it and we're serious about it, everything outside of that mind is sin. Now, I don't want you to think sin in the terms of bad things or morality like you think it is, because anything unaligned with God's will is sin. The word sin means to miss the mark, and I say this often because I want people to understand. So it means you're just unaligned from the way God has lined you up already, from the original intent or the plan he got, right? I told somebody the other day, Rico, that, and this was heavy, man, everything outside of the will of God is witchcraft.
Whoa.
To be honest, I'm always trying to find out more and more about who I am, who God made me to be. I just want to be the efficient version of what God created. So I'm always on this search. If that's you and you're like that as well, you should join the Red and 30 community. Red and 30, where we talk about Jesus, truth, and you, all using red words. We believe in the entire Bible. We believe the Bible is a story about who you and I are. But the red words tell us who we are in the story. The words of Jesus always tell us the position that we should play, the personality that we should have, and how we can actually always be in the will of God, thinking just like God thinks about life. Listen, join the Red and 30 community. You can go over to Substack or wherever we have the community now. You can join the Donovan Montreal Substack and you have access to it, or you can just access the Red and 30 community. We're reading books. I got books. It's almost, I don't really want to call it a book club. It's almost like a book club. It begins with the 30-day reading of the Gospels. We read the Gospels in 30 days, 3 chapters a day. It's real simple, real easy, but it has changed my life forever, and I know it will yours. If you're on that search and you want to go on a deeper dive and be with like-minded people having these same conversations, not just a religious thing, but an actual relationship thing with our real versions in God, in God's will, go over there and join the Red 30 community. Listen, you're going to love it, you're going to enjoy it, and we'll be glad to have it. We'll see you over there, Red 30. When we learned about witchcraft, it was always like, you can't pray your will upon somebody. Because trying to pray your will on somebody is witchcraft. Like to pray what you want for them. This is why he tells us when you pray like this. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. In the earth as in heaven. Because now we're no longer basing it on our own will, but we want the higher will or the will of the Father to be done. You get it? Everything outside of the will of God ends up being witchcraft, is what you want. I remember, man, I used to have these girls trying to pray. The girls try to pray for you. Like not pray for you, like pray for your well-being. They try to pray to have you.
Right.
Dudes do it too, right?
Yeah.
It becomes, and so, we've been allowed to pray for things. and believe God for things, and we make it the norm. A Western Christianity is the American dream Christianity, right? It's like American Christian, like you can pray for all the things that you want, but not everything outside the will of God is witchcraft. If it's not the will of God, then it is sin. So watch me. And don't let that freak you out or whatever, because Jesus really lines us up that way. It's why he tells us to lose our life and find our life and everything and all that good stuff. But I found something out, bro. And I've read this, I've heard this over and over again since I've been a little kid. And I think it's over in James 4 and 8. James, the book of James, we talk about the red words, we talk about the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. But James was actually Jesus' brother. They called him James the Great, right? What were we talking about the other day?
I think that's
it was James the Great or something. But like he went into ministry after Jesus and all these different things. But he was writing from a perspective of actually knowing Jesus firsthand.
Yeah.
And he makes a statement in this James 4:8, if you're ever going to look at it, and he says, draw nigh, and I want to read it like it says, because I be quoting it sometimes. It says, draw nigh, James 4:8, draw nigh to God, and he will draw nigh to you. Cleanse your hands, ye sinners, and purify your hearts, you double-minded. It's saying a lot right there. Double-minded means you're on two different roads, and you need to line it up to one.
Yeah.
Purify your hearts, right? Purify your hearts. Ye sinners, are you people that are just unaligned? Like you're living a reality that is not aligned, and I like the word, I'm keep saying it, aligned to the will of God. So I can be making decisions, and I could actually be driving straight in the wrong lane. That's crazy. I never want to be like that. I told somebody that today, Rick, I was talking to Swag. Shout out to Swag. I be shouting out Swag on the pod. Ain't it crazy? Shout out to Swag, I guess because we be working together every day. But
yeah,
I told him today, man, like I don't ever want to be to a place to where I don't know that I'm not aligned. That's like no man's land.
Right.
I was reading in and this would be another pod, but they call them the Laodiceans in Revelation. He's talking to the church. And in one part he says, y'all rich and y'all got it all together. He said, but y'all don't even know. You don't even know that you wretched inside. That you blind and you poor and you naked. And I'm like, dang, like could it be me? Like, could I ever be to a place where, according to this system, according to their statistics and their, things that they say is good in these systems, that I'm actually excelling, but I'm actually unaligned to the will of God?
Yeah.
I never want to be there, right? So that's what I'm talking about sin. But I like that part that says, draw nigh to God, and God will draw nigh, and he will draw nigh to you, right? It's like a magnet type thing. It's like it's a polarity conversation. It's like the way that you're pulling will be pulled towards you. It's the algorithm.
Yeah.
We do this sometimes, Rico. We're talking and the things that we're talking about will come up on our timeline. You may be on TikTok or Instagram or something like that, right? It happens other ways too. Sometimes you can be talking about something, but then an ad come up.
Yeah.
Trying to advertise to you what they heard you saying, right? This is the reason why your phone got speakers and it can listen, right? But anyway, it's the algorithm. But also there's an higher algorithm. The things that the systems create are always cheap counterfeits to how things really work. A lot of the science of the mind people and the positive thinking and the law of attraction people call it the universe. The universe starts working in your favor, right? I don't need the universe to work in my favor. You get it, whatever they try to call the universe God. I don't need the God to work in my favor. I need to work in his favor.
Yeah.
I don't need him to work according to my will, because I don't have the sovereign bird's eye view. I don't have that level clearance to know what needs to happen. We talk about that. I talked about that in the pod not too long ago. I don't have the level of clearance to know, Matthew 6:33, Jesus says, take no thought for tomorrow. And we be trying to do that. Like, I don't want to think about tomorrow. No, you can't think about tomorrow. Like you got some kind of schedule, but you have no idea what tomorrow holds. So it's an automatic conversation where almost you're automatically submitted, even though you think you're in control. You're not in control. But I understand that whatever I draw nigh to starts to gravitate towards me.
Yeah.
Right? It's the way that it works. And sometimes, sometimes people have, they're serial bad relationships. Like over and over again, they still got, somebody said you got a type.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you got a type. Then you keep complaining about that type, but that's being attracted to you. All these things are being added to you.
Mm.
That draw nigh to God and God will draw nigh to you. It's just like seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these
Things
will be added. So watch what I'm saying to you. The things of whatever kingdom that you're seeking is going to be added to you. Right? Whatever mentality, whatever thought process. I've watched a couple people talk about kingdom, and everybody got to feel like what they feel about the kingdom of God and everything. But a part of a kingdom is like a culture. It's everything that is all the components of that culture. It's it's the nationality of the people. It's the way that they think. It's the way that they handle things legally. It's the way that they function. It's the things that they value. It's the way that their agriculture works, right? Like it's all those things in tandem that make up a kingdom. It's the mentality or the mindset or what temperature this culture is set at for functioning.
Yeah.
Right? And we can see that differently. America is one way. Japan is another. China is another. Russia is another. Like India, like they have different temperatures that they're set at, different things that they will allow and different things that they won't. Different things that they value. It's a value system, right? So when it comes down to a kingdom, what is the value system that you're seeking after? He tries to tell us that in Matthew 6, and he tries to give us a clear understanding. And time out before I go on, I want to be clear that we have a tendency to try Jesus, right? We have a tendency to try it out. I was telling Nakia earlier, like sometimes when you buy a product online or you get something or you get a little supplement or it's a new tea that we're trying or whatever, right? That's the word. You're trying it. You're testing it out to see if it works because you don't know if it works or not. But you got to get it and you may get results. Sometimes you may get not. Have you ever, Rico, you bought something, you thought it was it?
Yeah.
Ain't do nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Free trial.
Yeah, free trial. Right. But some of them, you bought something and it actually worked good, so you continue.
Mm-hmm.
But you're still trying it out.
Yeah.
But the thing about Jesus and the red words, the thing about Christ is that it is not a trial error. Like you don't try Jesus because it's not a trial. It is. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to describe it. It's not something. It's not whether it'll work or not. It is the work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So sometimes we have a tendency to read the red words, read the words of Jesus, read what he's saying, and we try them out. We try to pray like that. We try to say it that way. We try to do it, and it's not a try. Everything that Jesus is saying is an actuality. It's actually showing you how things are and how you align yourself to the truth of what is, the truth of what God has already set up. And this is what makes life easy.
Yeah.
That's the yoke is easy. You get it? But the question is, what are you looking for? What are you seeking after? Draw nigh to God, and he will draw nigh to you. It's a polarity thing. Now, the truth of the matter is that that's really, God drawing nigh to you is actually in your mind, like your mentality will recognize a closeness to God. Closeness, I don't know if that's a word, closest to God. But God is omnipresent, so he's already all around you, in you, and as you, right? That's who he is. But you don't recognize it because you don't draw nigh to that mentality, that understanding. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Right? And so now whatever you're drawing nigh to, it's another algorithm. You show me your timeline and I'll show you what you're seeking after. Yeah. That's why I don't get so caught up. People go on social media fast. There's so much junk on social media. No, there's so much junk on your social media. It's so much junk on your timeline.
Yeah.
And your timeline is a direct reflection of what you've been looking for and what you've been looking at and what you've been liking and what you've been sharing and what you've been just looking to see. Show me a person's timeline and I'll show you their mind line. Right? I'll show you the things that strike your dopamine. I'll show you the things that get you going. I'll show you the things that, sometimes you even secretly looking at some things, right? And I'm not talking about, don't go straight to porn, right? I'm just talking, sometimes you're just looking at things and then it begins to attract all of those things, all these things being added to you. Yeah. So whatever you draw nigh to God and he will draw nigh to you. So my question is this, now what God are you drawing nigh to? Right? There's a lot of things that can be a God in your life. They're not almighty God, but they can be a God to your life because they're determining your decision making. You're doing things based off of their will. You're doing things based off the will of that. I even think about you can't serve God and mammon, because mammon can become your God if you're making all your decisions based off of money. You start a business because of money. You got a job because you wanted more money. And it sounds crazy, right? But like, where's the will of God? And he says you cannot. You get it? But whatever you're drawing nigh to, it begins to draw. Here's the beautiful thing about this conversation. That if I decide to see the will of God and draw nigh to the will of God, then he begins to flood who he is towards me and through me. It becomes almost like right now, like if we go right now, Rico, we couldn't. I can swim. Can you swim?
Yeah, I can swim.
So we know swim. You swim pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, I swim pretty good, right? So I think I do. I guess I ain't never raced about it. Like, well, I have raced, but I guess I get it done.
Yeah.
But even as well as you and I can swim, we couldn't go jump in the river right now because the current is too strong that it'll pull us under.
Yeah.
It'll pull you under and take you further than your skill of swimming is.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the beautiful thing about that is when you get into the river of the will of God, then it begins to take you place that you couldn't have gone on your own, right? And it begins to flood you and flow you at the same time. But there are other streamers.
Yeah.
Right? There's other streams and other rivers that are not necessarily the will of God. That's why they even in the industry, the music industry or the movie industry or whatever, they call it mainstream. When something's mainstream, they call it mainstream media, right? That means there's a stream that's going in a direction, and if you decide to seek after that and put yourself in that water, it'll drag you under and submerge you into what it is. It makes you submit to it. Mm-hmm. And before you know it, you're making decisions based off of what that is. You got it? So now if you watch, and it's a beautiful thing, I've said this before and I'll say it again, you have no idea how freeing lose your life to find it really is. You have no idea how much relief there is in that statement, because what Jesus is doing, he's not in the business of adding to you, because he knows that you already are one with the Father.
Yeah.
What more does God need to be added to, right? So then in turn, what he's really making you understand is, if I can just pull these things away that you've been seeking after and you've been drawing nigh to, so it's been drawing nigh to you, if I could ever get you to put that down, if I could ever get you to deny yourself, right? Lose your life to find, deny, don't savor the things that be of men. If I could ever get you to put those things down, you'd recognize the magnet of God that you are. And you begin to draw all good things towards you. And it's not just for you, because now you begin to draw good things to you, and you begin to draw God out of another. I was reading one of the books I had now, it's called Lessons in Truth, and it was saying how, there's personality, then there's individuality. Personality is the outer thing. It's the people that we meet when we see each other. When we dap up, when we smile, and when we either at work or at class or at church or when we go on a date. When you go on a first date, you're really meeting the representative. You don't really know the person. Like that's the representative that they done got dressed up and projected and presented to you. That's personality, right? But then there's individuality, which is the intimate place of God. The kingdom of God is within you. It becomes the intimate identity of God in you, and God begins to flow through that place, right? And a lot of times we can be functioning in personality when God is trying to send something through you through individuality, through identity. Are you with me?
Yeah.
And so if I could begin to seek first, if I can deny myself, I can get past the perception of personality. Sometimes it's a facade. Sometimes I'm perpetrating a fraud, right? We were talking about fraud right before we came on here, mm-hmm. Rico, how he told the rich and ruler, defraud not. In other words, you kind of frauding, like you're presenting something that you really ain't. A form of godliness, but not the power, right? If I can get you to move all those things and get those out the way, then you'd actually see who you really are. And the way the book describes it is, the person that is living in their individuality, and it's not individuality like we see today. The book is an older book, so it's not the way we define it today, like I'm my own man, and there's just a lot of ego. but it's talking about the individuality of God inside of you. That person, not only do you come to admire a person like that, you want to be around them, but then that person, when you are around them, there's a sense of them. God, dog, I feel that, boy. There's a sense. There's a sense of them extracting that understanding out of you. I know some of y'all probably can feel that right now. We on this. I don't be trying to. I be trying to just have the conversation, have the power, but I understand what's going on. There's as I'm talking to you, there's an extraction happening to you. There's what I'm saying, the way I'm speaking to you right now is snatching the Spirit of God coming through you. You get it? Like it's pulling out all the things that God is. It's like it's ciphering it. When I was younger, man, I used to go to my uncle's house. Shout out to my Uncle Roy, man. And we used to go to his house and we all stayed on the same lane. Shout out to Highway 73, Geismar, Louisiana. And we stayed on the same lane. So my Auntie May, it was my Auntie May, then my Uncle Roy, then my Uncle Bill, then my Uncle Cocky, then my Uncle June, and then it was our house. We grew up in the house that my dad grew up in, right? We grew up from the time I was like 11 years old. We grew up in that house, catching water, you know, the old school stuff. Like it's rain and they got a bunch of leaks in the roof, so we putting out pots to make sure the water ain't all. This is a crazy stuff. That's another story, right? But we stay on the same lane, so me and all my cousins, we be running back and forth, jump across the ditch in the back. And so my Uncle Roy had an old school pump in his backyard, and it had like a big tub. The way they would do it is, I mean, a big, huge tub. Tub might be maybe 6 or 7 feet in diameter, right? And the pump was right there, and you would pump it, and the pump was actually hooked to a well, and then you pump so much that it would fill the tub up with water, and you be able to get water out of it. That's how they do it. That's how they used to do it back in the Gap, right? Mm-hmm. We never did it much when we were smaller because I don't know if the pump was still hooked to a well or not, but the way the pumps work, they would explain to us, you would pump and you would keep pumping until the pressure builds. Yeah. Right? And the pressure we so technological and so, industrialized that we just turn on the faucet and we have no idea what it takes to actually pump water from a well. Wow. We've lost sometimes those having to do those things. And once again, I like turning on water. I like the water becoming on, like the hot water and all that. So I'm not talking crazy. But sometimes the absence of that process doesn't process you. But you start to pump it. And you will pump it so much, like you just pump the well, and you had to pump it so much, it had a crank on it almost. And you pump it so much until the pressure builds. Now the first couple pumps, don't nothing. You ain't getting no flow of water. There ain't nothing going on, right? But then as you go, you can feel the pressure building. And then pushing the crank down will get a little more difficult because of the pressure coming back. And before you know it, the water starts to flow out of it. And then it gets to the point where it flows so much, it doesn't want to stop. And so now the water is pouring out and filling up the tub. You get it? And then after that, if you ever need to pump it, you don't have to pump as much. You just hit it again to keep the water flowing. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? But it becomes an extraction. Out of thy belly shall flow. Yeah. Jesus says, he that believeth on me, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water. What are you trying to say? That your belief in what I'm saying to you about who you are, and your belief in what I'm saying about denying yourself and putting things to the side, your belief in it begins to extract the river of God out of you.
The right stream.
The right stream, right? We always talking about the streamers, right? Or streaming music and everything. I'll say it again. It's not multiple streams of income. It's multiple streams of
outcome.
And now I even say it ain't multiple streams, just a stream. Just a river. River outcome. You understand what I'm saying? And it begins to fill all the branches of your life and all the positions and all the places that you hold, the places that you're responsible from. It begins to fill them with the river of God. You get it? But I want to be clear that it is a clarity of alignment, right? It's a clarity of, it begins to decipher what's really important, what's not, right? It begins to decipher, is this what I want? Or is this what God wants for me? And that can be a little tricky sometimes. Your desires and your wants are they're the most potent drug you can take. I know some people get hooked on heroin. Some people, heavy on the weed. Some people with the ayahuasca stuff and all that. You know what I'm saying? Like they be saying all different kinds of stuff. They got one drug that, as my initials, called DMT, right? And this girl told me a while back, I was like, this is crazy. This is wild. And she called me and told me like it was a revelation. Your name is, I was like, girl, you better get off my phone with that crazy, right? Several drugs that can get you inebriated. Several alcohols that are different strengths that can get you inebriated and get you, off your rocker. But the greatest drug that you'll ever, and a lot of those drugs are a product of this drug first, and it's desire. It's desire, it's want. It's somebody told you that you can have whatever you want. You can be whatever you want to be when you grow up. No, you can't. No, you can't. How you 5, whatever. You stop growing. You 5'7". You stop growing. You're not about to be LeBron. You can't be LeBron if you want to be. You can't. You're not. No, you're not. You know what I'm saying? You can't. You can't be that. Right. But there is something that you were called and sent here to be. And so my job is to, even with this podcast, my job is to present the conversation in such a way that makes you reconsider the best version of you. There's an efficient version of you. There's a higher version that God has seen and God has said and God has put into motion. But sometimes we can become deceived by the systems that be, right? And we forget our identity. Sometimes we never even introduced to our identity because we're deceived by the systems. Here we go. We're deceived by the systems of our desires, right? And we told that, that's all it's about, what you desire. That's all it's about, what you want. You can get what you want. And so now you're going to make all your decisions based off of that. And then he going to say, depart from me, I never knew you, workers of iniquity. I ain't trying to be that. I ain't trying to be on that side. I want to get to the point to where I'm seeking, and as I seek the will of God and seek what God is saying and seek who God is saying that I am, as I'm seeking this conversation that I'm doing. I mean, we talk about it. We're doing everything. Like I'm reading books.
Yeah.
I'm having the conversation. We on the phone, man. We stay on the phone for an hour and a half this morning. Maybe I'll put that up on the Substack so y'all can go watch it one day. If y'all go subscribe to the Donovan Montreal Substack, then you'll be able to go ahead and get on there and see it. But we talking about but we just having the conversation. I text this morning and say, hey, who opened for a phone call? They started thumbing it up, and we just jumped on 4-way, 5-way, you know what I'm saying? And just started having the conversation that we need to have, because this conditioning begins to condition me. It conditions me of what it conditions me of what already is in God's will.
Yeah.
Not what will be, not what is somewhere else, not what somebody else has, but what God's will is in the moment right now. The best way Jesus describes is when he says, I am. He doesn't say, I will be the resurrection. He says, I am the resurrection. He doesn't say, I will be the bread of life. He says, I am the bread of life. He doesn't say, I will be the way. He says, I am the way. But he's not just making it exclusive to him, because he said, he that believeth on me, the works that I do, he do also.
Yep.
And greater works. I'm in the Father me, you in me, and I'm in you. It becomes that conversation. So I begin to retool myself and retool my search, because I know whatever I'm searching, right, becomes the thing that's being magnetized to me. I'm actually setting my algorithm up. I'm setting my timeline up. Wow, that's crazy. The timeline of my life is being set up by my search. Whatever comes up on the screen of my timeline, and I want you, are you catching the visual? The visual of your life and your timeline. Next year you're going to be whatever age, or next year you're going to be whatever phase in life, or next year you're going to be, in the timeline is a scroll, because your life is scrolling. And in the scroll of your timeline, in the scroll of the timeline that is your life here, while we're here for a reason. We got to work while it's day. In the scrolling of your timeline, right, what is showing up on your screen? What is being projected? And I'll tell you, whatever's being projected is what you've drawn to you. Jesus says, I'll be lifted up from this earth. I will draw all men unto me. There's a drawing, there's a magnet, there's a pull that he's trying to get you to understand. There's a pull of God that you begin to pull. Is thy kingdom come, thy will be done. And we'll talk about this in another pod. Becomes the most important thing. Is it becomes the purpose of life. And then now you begin to, watch this, you begin to extract the effects or the attributes of heaven out of the earth. Just because of the magnet of God on the inside of you. Just like God said, let there be light. He didn't say, here, let me give you some light. He said, let there be light, and he pulled it out the ether. And it's the same thing with you. We call it miracles and all these different things, but you're just pulling what heaven looks like here, now. That's the algorithm, man. Listen, this has been the Donovan Montreal Pod. Man, glad to have y'all. Glad y'all kicking it with us. Y'all make sure y'all like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Y'all go over to the Substack, man. This episode is brought to you by God Can't Fail. You see it. You see it. It's not just encouragement. It is awareness. Make sure y'all go over and join. If you subscribe to the Donovan Montreal Substack, then you get access to the Red and 30 community. The whole thing we're doing, having conversations, like even some of these books. I just was sharing some books that I'm reading. One book right here, and I'm not even gonna say the name because you got to go over and subscribe to see. There's another book that's pretty good that I've been reading. Somebody gonna try to pause it, but it's covered up right there. But go. We're reading books together and we're having a conversation, and then we're just talking about real life, man. Then I got some dope music's coming. I'm actually doing the new God Can't Fail 2026, so that's gonna be fire. I'm gonna release all that on there, and I just got some. I got all kind of stuff going on, man. We just rolling, got new gear and all that good stuff. So make sure you go subscribe. God Can't Fail, more than encouragement. It is awareness of God in you. This is the Donovan Montreal Pod, and we will see you next time. We'll holla. It's always good to be reminded that God is always in control. Sometimes life be life and things don't go like you planned it to go, and it just ain't working out. Insert the God Can't Fail bands. Listen, it's more than encouragement. It's awareness. It's awareness of God on the inside of you, all around you, and in all of your situations. Listen, and if you know that God can't fail, then you always understand that you can't fail because you're one with God, and God is on the inside of you. So listen, go over to godcan'tfail.com and get you some bands. We've been giving them out all over the place. Buy you one, buy you two, get you a bunch. Matter of fact, we're about to do a new package. We're about to do an ultimate package where you can one time buy and get all the colors at once to match with all your outfits and be fresh and all that good stuff. Yeah, so go to godcan'tfail.com. Get you some wristbands. The sweatshirts are coming soon. They'll be on there for everybody to grab them. But just go over there and get it. Listen, it's more than an accessory. It's a necessity. Letting you know that God can't fail. And, when days get hard, things get difficult, all I got to do is look down at my wrist and realize what? God can't fail. And it not only encourages me, but it makes me aware of God right here where I am in my situation and where I'm going. Go over to God Can't Fail and get you one.